Says the king, because we're talking about the world to come after life, the king asks a very good question. Okay, you gave me this whole theory about life after death, about what the afterlife is going to feel like, spiritual pleasures. Does that mean that only Jews get to go there?
No.
Okay, so what is the answer that the Kuzari gives if the answer is no?
If non-Jews work hard to keep the 7 Noahide laws, there's a place for them in the next world, but it's not as great as our world.
Okay.
It's not the same thing. It's
So
what they want.
he says, listen to this, he says, En anu sholelim mishum adam. We do not deny from any human being the reward for his good acts, from whatever nation he comes from. אבל אנחנו רואים הטובה הגמורה לעם הקרובים בחייהם. ואנו עורכים מעלתם אצל האלוקים אחרי מותם בערך ההוא. And the way, but what we do is we evaluate the behavior or the culture of different nations, the way that they behave in this world, and then we see how that would translate in the next world. So the Kuzari says, why don't we go the other way around? If we say that the person's place in the world to come is dependent on what they do in this world, flip it. Wouldn't their position in this world imply their position in the world to come? It's a very, very powerful question.
Can you repeat it?
Yeah, I think that's what. Yeah, that's.
What? I didn't get it.
That's what we do already.
No.
What is the question?
The king is saying, what you're telling me, Rabbi, is that we take the person's behavior in this world and we extrapolate what his position is going to be in the world to come based on his behavior here.
Right.
Just go the other way around. That is to say, if a person's low position in this world, right, that implies that his position in the afterlife is a low position also.
Is that what you're saying about the goys?
No, he's asking them about the Jews. He's saying, look how lowly the Jews are in this world. You're telling me that the Jews are going to be, like you said, on a higher plane. They're going to be olam haba, super through the roof. If it's based on what they do in this world, their position in the next world is based on what they do in this world. So why don't we show their position in this world is a reflection of their position in the next world?
It is, but this is the world of pain, and the Olam Haba is the world of pleasure.
Oh, that's one answer. I wouldn't say that if I was trying to talk to people about Judaism and trying to get them to commit to living a Jewish life. This is a world of pain. You will suffer.
This is a world of pain.
No, that's not what we say. Really? Is it that painful to be a Jew? So the rabbi says, okay, I see that you are insulting us because of our lowly and poor position in the world. Have you ever heard, this is a concept in Western thought, it's called the Protestant work ethic. Have you ever heard of this?
I've heard.
So the Protestant work ethic is something developed in Calvinism. In the Protestant work ethic, their theology was that if you're poor, it implied that God doesn't like you.
So like caste systems.
If you are unsuccessful in life, it means that you are a sinner. If you work hard enough, if you do everything you're supposed to do, you will succeed. Right? There's a book called Prophets and Prophets. Profits and Prophets, which describes the Protestant work ethic, that theology of early Protestant.
When was that written?
When it was in the 80s. But the Protestant work ethic is something that developed in the 16th century. And you could see that it was very, very big in the American colonies.
Protestant work ethic
Yeah.
developed? As in,
As a theology.
okay.
So this is sort of predates that. The king is saying,
Falls in line with the American dream, kind of.
it's saying exactly that if you are in a lowly position, it implies that in the next world you will be in a lowly position. So the rabbi has to explain this. And he says, because you see the Jewish people's position around the world in a lowly position, that everyone can do whatever they want to us. So he says, but he says something very interesting. If you see in the other nations of the world, they are proud for having a culture that says the following. If somebody slaps you on your right cheek, give him your left. If somebody takes your talus, give him your robe. Right? Turn the other cheek. So he is saying, he is coming to the king and he says, listen, you're telling me that we're lowly positioned and we're downtrodden. He says, there's a big religion, runs most of the world, that says that that's what they should be doing themselves. And he says, the person who said this, and his followers, since hundreds of years, they were inflicted by all sorts of pain and killing, all sorts of those things, and they use this as a way to boast themselves. Right? Early Christians were martyrs and they're under the Roman Empire. That certainly wasn't a negative. It was a positive for them. And he says the same thing with regard to the teachings of Ishmael, right, in Islam, until such time that they conquered the world. They said that their people were not boasting because of their kings. That's not what it is. So he says, our value, and this is the key for everybody, our value is mikirbat ha'elokim, that we are close to Hashem. What matters is not how much money you have, how much political power you have. It's how close to Hashem you are. That's what it means. That's it. And he says, even if we had more power, more authority in the world, we would not be any closer than we are today. Okay? All right. It's powerful, isn't it? It says that the position that we're in the 12th century brought us closer to Hashem.
That being the 13th century, or that's still the
12th.
12th?
12th. Yeah.
Jews in general are doing better than that time, right?
Today?
Does that mean we're further now?
That's what I was going to ask. So what do you think? Right? So not necessarily is the Hebrew term lav davka, or Aramaic term, the Jewish term lav davka. Not necessarily. But it really depends on what you're doing with the position in which you're in. Are you using it to come closer to Hashem? Or are you using it to get away from Hashem? Is it an obstacle to you? Or is it bringing you closer? So the Kuzari says, okay, it'd be one thing if you would have accepted this lowly position on your own, that is, that you asked for it. But this is being forced on you. See what he's saying? He says, okay, you're saying that your lowly position brings you closer to God. Fine. But you're not doing it by choice. You're doing it because you don't have a choice. All the other nations are beating you down. So you don't have a choice. You can't use your position to say that I'm close to God now, because you didn't choose this position. You got to this position not by your own volition. It's a very good kasha. So the rabbi says, yes, you found, here's what it says, you found the source of my embarrassment. You're right. We should be ashamed. So you say, for what? So listen to that. Listen to what he says. כן הוא אילו היה רובנו מקבל מהדלות כניעה לאלוהים, it would have been right, correct, appropriate for us to accept our lowly position in submission to the will of God. Submission to the will of God. And for His Torah. לא היה מניחנו העליין האלוקי כל הזמן הזה. That is, if we would have accepted our position as a way of God's will, then we wouldn't have been in exile for as long as we have been. Problem is then that since most Jews haven't used the historical circumstances in which they found themselves as a way to connect to Hashem and accept it willingly, then it prolongs the galus, the exile. That's why what he says. The reason it's so long, the reason it hasn't ended, is because we refuse to accept our position and understand that this God is doing it to bring us closer to Him. Questions?
So sorry, with the non-Jews they accept it, but with us Jews we don't accept our positions?
I'm sorry?
I'm saying with the non-Jews, they accept what they have, like the position they're given, they believe whatever they have now is what it's going to be in the next world. But with us Jews...
No, it's not a question of the next world.
I mean, but I'm just saying, like, from God, we don't accept what He's given us, our position.
He wants us to reach to a certain level of connection to Him. So what's happening to you in your life is the way that God is trying to bring you closer to Him. If you don't accept that, then more stuff are going to happen to you. The more you resist, the more things will happen.
But I thought in some way by God showing us suffering, it's God showing us His love.
In what sense is that showing His love?
Trying to bring us closer.
That's the point. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I just don't use that term of God bringing us suffering. He is creating situations to get us to wake up, to come to Him.
But we haven't realized that yet.
No. No. Otherwise, there would be no point. There's going to be no point to prolong the exile. If everybody connected to God and observed the Torah the way we're supposed to, then Mashiach would be here. There's no reason not to have the temple and everything.
There's a reason to have it, is what it's saying. That the situation is perfect as it's been given to us. We just won't accept it, and therefore...
And so things are going. Yeah, it's not a b'diavad, of course. Correct. Questions?
So that means every second, in a sense, there's a slight change going on because we haven't, like the previous second, accepted. The
Or maybe
circumstances
it
that allows
went.
them to be
Maybe you have, and you moved up or go down. Yeah.
Oh, but as a nation, we're being measured, and so
But the nations is also individuals.
yeah. So there could be some people that are as close as they are supposed to be to Hashem, but because the rest of the nation aren't,
Yeah.
We
then
can't have another revelation, right? Because,
We're not there.
no.
We're not there. I mean, the reason we don't have a temple is because we are not at the spiritual level to appreciate what a temple is. If the temple exists today, people would go like, why are they killing animals? What does this have to do with anything? Don't animals have rights? Right, that would be the issue. People would say that.
yeah.
Why is it?
Yeah?
Whenever people say certain things, images trigger in my head, so I just had an image of a donkey teaching a class. But
What?
animals have rights, well, the same rights as humans.
Did animals have more rights than humans?
I always
Why not?
Images spark up in my head.
Because they can't have big deal.
No.
They do?
I'll show you. There's an article that argues. It was published in a very important philosophical journal that argues for post-birth abortions. Post-birth abortions.
For humans.
Yeah. Of course. So there it turned out, if you read very carefully, it turns out that animals have more rights than babies. Which is what when he showed me the article, I said to him, watch, they're going to argue for animals have more rights than people. Because it always comes out like that. Because they created a new definition of what it means to be a human being. And they changed it, saying that babies are not human beings. So the question, okay, so how many years? Like 2 years? No, you can kill them after, maybe 3 weeks. Why not? Why not?
Throw him in the pool. Big diaper.
Aaron. Is mom still here? Oh, because I would need to talk to mama about this.
Would be the first time. A lot of parent-teacher conversation.
Yeah?
It says in Bereshit that Adam is supposed to guard the animals.
No.
By eating them.
Not by eating them, that's not guarding them.
What does the word that the Torah uses for animals? To guard the animals?
Shomer? No?
It doesn't say that.
Shucks.
You have dominion over them.
Oh.
They were created for you.
We were
Then
created to
Shalom.
protect them.
Doesn't say that. Doesn't say that.
Get up.
That's what Rav Cook said.
Yeah.
From the.
You're supposed to protect them, not destroy.
Right.
Supposed to
Wasn't that saying?
I mean, just because we have dominion over them doesn't mean that we can just be like
Exploit them. Correct. I agree with you. I agree
use
with
them
you.
for when we need
And
them,
we
when
see the
don't.
Torah. The Torah holds that there is a concept of tzar ba'alei chaim, that we are not allowed to cause pain to animals.
Or make them work on Shabbat.
So why does nobody, why doesn't any major rabbi, point out that we don't need to be consuming this many animals? Like, there's no reason health-wise for us to be eating meat every day.
Because the Torah has nothing to do with your health. Torah is not a health book.
It's not. But
It's not a history
I'm
book. It's
saying
not an
that people
archaeology
argue it
book.
for health. But the Torah doesn't say that.
But
we
the
should-
laws of kashrut are not about health.
That's not,
The laws of kashrut are about holiness.
I know, but I'm saying I don't think it's right for us to consume as much animals.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Besana.
And I feel like a lot of
I remember, we had friends come to visit us stay with us in Shabbat. This is back in America. And one of their children said, Orthodox people use more energy because they leave the lights on. And I was like, what? Yeah, you guys don't turn on the lights so that you contribute to global warming. And I looked at her and I said to the mother, because I figured it's not the child, it's the mother. I said, my car doesn't drive 60 days out of the year. Which means that my carbon footprint is a lot smaller than yours. Let's sit down and have a Shabbos meal. I did it in a nice way. I didn't put it like that. But
Don't you have the Shabbat timers too?
yes.
So
No, forget Shabbat timers. Let's say you left the lights on. You don't drive for 60 days out of a year. Right? With the Chagim and Shabbatot, 2 months out of the year, your car is in the driveway. I got cheaper insurance. Because I said, I don't drive my car this time.
Friday and Saturday nights are high risk nights too.
Correct? And there's less mileage on the car, less wear and tear. Da, 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 da. So you're like, okay, yeah, you're right. Give you a break. How will I make sure that you don't drive? I said, he makes sure that I don't drive. You?
Send you a daily email.
What?
Send you a weekly email.
Correct.
Don't drive this week.
That's right. Don't forget. Yes, did you find the verse? Where? You're looking at the wrong side of the world, son.
Am I?
Yes.
Okay.
What verse is it?
Chaf-chaf.
Kavav. Let's see what it says.
No, maybe chaf-
Here. It's here, right here.
chaf-zayin.
He says, listen to this, in 28. God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. And what?
fill the earth and subdue it.
And?
And rule over the fish of the sea, the bird of the sky, and every living thing that moves on the earth. What is ruling over? You can't rule over something that's dead
over
or in
it.
your stomach.
Why?
Rulership, you can rule over subjects.
Yes.
But
You
kill
can
them all and
use
put them
them.
on
You could use them at your will.
Yeah, like that doesn't make in terms of kingship and like.
I didn't argue that you don't have a responsibility to take care of the world, but you can't argue that the Torah says you can't eat animals.
In the beginning, it does say you can't eat.
No, but Noach, yeah, right. And in Noah, in the Brit of Noah, you're allowed to eat it.
I'm not denying it, but here it's you can't.
That's not exactly.
The first man can't eat it and shouldn't, and he has
Yeah,
to
it's
rule
true,
and
he's
protect
right.
over it.
But you're not a son of Adam. You're son of Noach.
We're all sons of Adam and Noah.
But we have the Brit that was made with us is the Torah, correct? Does the Torah allow you to eat meat?
It does after Adam, after
That's
Noah.
what we're saying. We are.
I'm asking you a question. You are under the covenant of the Torah. You're not under the covenant of Noah, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, according to the Torah, can you eat meat?
Yeah, we're allowed to.
Okay,
There's probably other
And-
things we're allowed to do now that we shouldn't do,
really?
isn't there?
I don't know. That I don't know.
The Rambam.
We're allowed to smoke.
Actually, there's some people.
No,
that
so?
don't know.
So what?
But you shouldn't, it's not good for you.
Exactly.
But the Torah doesn't say to you should smoke.
It doesn't say you should eat meat. It says you
It-
can.
No, it says on basar v'yain on Yom Tov, on Shabbos. It's a mitzvah. You have to do it.
It says it in
That's
the Torah.
rabbinical.
In the Torah.
Did I miss something?
It says
I
that-
don't enjoy it.
Where does it? Yeah. What if you don't?
Then
enjoy it?
something is wrong. Get a better piece of steak.
It's okay, but it's no dairy meal.
It's rabbinical.
What? Dairy meal?
is so good.
Yeah,
Relax.
yogurt.
Okay, fine. I'll come to eat at your house for Shavuot.
He makes that doofy.
It's gonna be great.
man.
Yeah, right.
Soup, dude.
Rabbi.
I'll have blintzes.
Lox soup, man.
I'll have some blintzes
Yeah,
with the raisins.
You're gonna have so much cheese.
ice cream. Soup.
Ice cream,
You eat the ice cream first.
cream cheese.
I'm not getting
Roman?
excited. What?
Okay, I sidetracked us, or
Yes, you did. But I don't know why. I'm trying to understand why this is so bothersome. Maybe you should have a shear on basar. The mitzvah of Judaism and vegetarianism.
They can go hand in hand.
They could, as long as you're not arguing that that's the purpose of the Torah. Okay. No, they do, but we don't hear it. Right.
What do you say?
Right. If you only knew what he said, if I were you, I wouldn't take it. I would revolt. I would say, Rav Shulman, forget it.
What do you say?
I'll tell you what he said. He made the following observation, that vegetarians are more cruel than people who eat meat, because a tomato cannot run away. Actually, there's a midrash that says that really the earth cries out every time you step on it.
And if you rip a leaf cries as well.
Right, right,
Said the voice going from one
Correct.
side to the other side.
correct. There's a
Buddhist.
no. It's so the thing is, if you really are going to that level, you can't exist in this physical world because you have an impact on everything that you touch. But the Torah is matir it. That's the point.
Yeah, that's a good argument. Okay, satisfied.
Checkmate. Even though they're screaming,
Sounds good. Grab me a steak.
Yeah.
grab you a steak. All right, I'll tell Rabbi Schiller for Thursday. All right, let's stop here so the millionaires can come in.